Hey, what's going on, everyone? Happy Wednesday to you. Wow, what a scorcher, right? This past weekend. I don't know about you guys, but thank goodness we live by the beach, and I've got some amazing friends that invited me over and my family to go and hang out at their pool and have a pool party. So Jason and Taylor, thank you guys so much. Now, today we are asking a very big and critical question in my mind having to do with chiropractic. And the question that I posed to you in the title of this little Facebook Live is, what if chiropractic actually has nothing to do, zero to do with back pain? You ever think about that? What if what I do, what chiropractors do for a living, has absolutely nothing to do with back pain? Now, let me rewind a little bit and kind of take you back to the origins of chiropractic. Chiropractic started or was founded in 1895 by a guy named Daniel David Palmer, D.D. Palmer for short. And what D.D. Palmer was doing prior to chiropractic, he was a magnetic healer. Now, back in the day, what that really means is that people were really big into blood. And they believed that if you could bring blood to an area, that the body can heal itself. Matter of fact, you may have even remembered why George Washington, remember our first president, he became sick, and what they ended up doing was they call it bloodletting, where they took blood out of him, which would hopefully upregulate the immune function, so the body would produce more white blood cells to fight off the infection. Well, unfortunately for Washington, they took too much blood out of him, and that's ultimately why he ended up dying. But people were obsessed with blood in the 17 and 1800s, all the way up till the late 1800s, and that's when D.D. Palmer was practicing magnetism, is what they called it. And as you know, D.D. Palmer had a patient come in who was deaf, who couldn't hear, and he's felt in his neck and found that he had a big old bump, and he pressed on it, and he heard a loud pop. And soon after, what the story goes is Harvey Lillard, that was the patient's name, could actually start to hear, and he regained his hearing. And D.D. Palmer then dedicated the rest of his life learning about what the spinal cord, the spinal column, and the nervous system could do, having to do with health. Now remember, back in those days, no one did autopsies, no one was doing deep research. Matter of fact, they weren't even doing any cadaver research at that time. So very, very early on in medicine, a lot of things were potions, they had no ideas. Matter of fact, antibiotics weren't really even at the highlight at this point. So what was happening was this. In the early 1900s, now, mind you, in 1895, chiropractic was discovered, and in 1917, 1918, a huge epidemic came out in the world. Now, many of you don't remember it, I'm sure, unless your grandparents have told you about it, but it was called the Spanish flu. And what the Spanish flu was so predominant for was the fact that it literally killed everything that was in its path. Tens of thousands, they estimate hundreds of thousands of people actually died once they got this Spanish flu. Now, what I'm going to show you here, what I'm going to flip the script here and show you on my computer screen now, is some studies showing what actually happened when chiropractors got hold of patients versus when the standard medical doctors did, and really what happened to them. So I'm going to turn my screen around right now, and I'm going to show you something. So here we go. Okay. So take a peek at this. This is an article from Circle of Docs, and it talks about the 1918 influenza epidemic. As you can tell at this point, there are literally, they set up whole, I think this right here was a gymnasium, a high school gymnasium of people that were sick. They literally just lined them up here, and medical doctors tried to care for them. People were trying different cough syrups. They were trying literally everything that they could to try to get people healthy and well. Well, I want to show you guys a little bit of what was written. This was written by a guy named Dr. Dan Murphy. He's a chiropractor. This was published in the Texas Chiropractic Association in 1978. But check this out. In Davenport, Iowa, that is the state, that is the area where chiropractic was founded. 50 medical doctors treated approximately 5,000 cases, so 4,953 cases, and they had 274 deaths. At the same time, in the same city, 150 chiropractors, including students and faculty of Palmer School of Chiropractic. So these people weren't even doctors that have gone through the whole curriculum. These were people that were still in practice, still in school, treated 1,600 people, and they only had one death. Now, wait a second. That should make you raise your eyebrows for a second. 4,900 cases treated by medical doctors and 274 deaths. 150 chiropractors treated 1,600 cases and only one person died. Matter of fact, in the entire state of Iowa, medical doctors treated 93,590 patients, and 6,000 of those patients died. That is 1 in every 15 people died. Now, contrast that with this. In the same state of Iowa, excluding that small area of Davenport, 4,700 patients were treated by chiropractors with only a loss of 6 cases. That equates out to 1 patient in every 789. Now, for a lot of people are saying, well, guess what? Davenport was probably just in this little area. Iowa's in this little area. That can't possibly be the case for the entire national average, could it? Well, check this out. National figures show that 1,100 chiropractors treated 46,000 patients during 1918 with a loss of only 54 patients. That is 1 out of 886. Wait a second here. You're telling me that people that went to a chiropractor, only 1 in 886 people died versus 1 in 15 people that went to the medical route and did the medical procedures at that time. And you're absolutely correct, guys. Now, why is this so breathtaking? Why isn't this written in every medical journal? Well, let me tell you. This is ultimately how chiropractic became and got on the map. It had nothing to do with back pain. It had nothing to do with sciatica. It had nothing to do with alleviating people's headaches. What it had to do with was the fact that when chiropractors put their hands on people and adjusted people, it elicited a response in the nervous system which caused an upregulation of the immune system, which allowed the body to fight off the diseases, the viruses, and the bacteria that it was encountering, which ultimately left people healthier, which ultimately allowed their body to fight against this Spanish flu and overcome it. And it's not just one person saying this. This is 1 out of 886 versus 1 out of every 15. Is that not incredible? Now, this isn't widely spread out there. Matter of fact, I mean, really, would you expect it to be in the big medical journals? Would you expect people to actually say, hey, look, I think I'm going to go see a chiropractor versus going and seeing my medical doctor? Well, where did you hear that? Well, I actually read it out of the medical journal that the medical doctors funded. Of course not. That's never going to happen. We know that. But guess what? Statistics and research over time allows us to now uncover the ultimate truth. Now, it wasn't very long ago in the 1930s and 40s when research was being published showing that cigarettes were actually good for you. Matter of fact, you probably have even seen a lot of the old propaganda commercials, propaganda advertising stating, hey, there's nothing wrong with Camel cigarettes. My doctor chooses Camels. And people would get out on TV, and they even got up in front of our legislation and said, hey, guys, smoking is not going to cause any harm, guys. There's nothing in a cigarette that is addictive. There's nothing in cigarettes that are going to kill you. Well, let's be honest. Now we know. Now we know that cigarettes, they contain nicotine. Nicotine is bad for your body, and ultimately it's a huge carcinogen and the leading cause of emphysema and cancer. We know that. It is not a disputed fact. But back in those days, their research proved that it was healthy for them. Now think about this for a second. What if every person in the world knew that they had a better chance of staying healthy and getting healthy if they were adjusted frequently by a chiropractor? See, in my practice, if you're watching this on my Facebook page, you guys know this. You know that our goal here in our office is to provide an alternate opportunity, the alternate way to live. I guess that's the best way to say it. We provide a healthy, drug-free approach to keeping the body healthy. That's what chiropractic's all about. It's about adjusting the body and allowing the body to get back into homeostasis so it can fight off infections. I know many of you right now have your kids that are in school. My 2 kids are in school right now, and we know that they're going to come home snotty-nosed, that they're swapping spit and high-fiving and, taking one snot off of one person, giving each other a hug on their face. That's normal kids, guys. That's supposed to happen. But what's not supposed to happen is that the average 4-year-old is not supposed to have 6 inner ear infections over the course of their year in kindergarten. What's not supposed to happen is that your kid has to take multiple rounds of antibiotics. See, the reason our body gets sick is because our body cannot fight off infection efficiently. So, what does this tell us? What does the epidemic of 1918 tells us? It tells us this, that if we can adjust the body, keep the nervous system working accordingly, keep the body and the immune function at its highest level, that the body has the greatest ability to fight off infection and to remain healthy. So I want you to think about that today. I hope you guys have a great day. And remember this, chiropractic has never, ever been about back pain. Yes, we do a great job of taking care of that. But what we are all about is keeping you and your family healthy. Have a great and amazing Wednesday.